Have you ever frozen completely in the middle of a conversation because your brain was too busy translating words?
If that sounds like you, do not panic, because today we are showing you exactly how to stop translating and start thinking directly in English.
Welcome to another episode of Podcast and Chill on the Learn English podcast channel. I am Jack, your host, and joining me is my wonderful co-host, Mira.
Hello, everyone. It is so great to have you back. How is everyone's English journey going this week?
Mine is doing great, but I remember clearly when I was learning a new language, sometimes I just could not seem to think in it.
Don't worry, you are definitely not alone. That feeling is super common, even for people who have been learning English for a long time.
Right. It is like your brain gets completely stuck in your native language, and the English words just will not come out when you need them.
Exactly. But guess what? Today's episode is all about overcoming that exact problem once and for all.
We will talk about why it happens in the first place and share some powerful, actionable tips to help you start thinking in English naturally.
Let's get started. So, let's talk about the root of this problem. Why is thinking in English so hard for most learners?
Well, first of all, it is simply a habit. Our brains are hardwired to think in the language we grew up speaking. It is just the natural path of least resistance.
Plus, when you are learning a new language, your active vocabulary might not be big enough yet to express all your complex thoughts instantly.
Absolutely. And finally, sometimes a lack of confidence can really hold us back. We worry too much about making mistakes.
So we might avoid thinking in English entirely just to feel safe. But remember, everyone makes mistakes while learning. It is part of the process.
So, what can we actually do to fix this? Are we just stuck translating forever?
Not at all. There are proven ways to train your brain. Let's start with something incredibly small but powerful. Micro-narration.
Micro-narration? That sounds interesting. What exactly does that mean, Mira?
It means trying to describe your daily life in English as it happens. Start simple. Try listing your daily tasks in your head using English.
Oh, I see. Like saying to yourself, wake up, make coffee, eat breakfast, or go to work.
Exactly. For example, Jack, what are you doing right now?
I am sitting at a desk, looking at you, and talking into a professional microphone.
Perfect. You can also describe things around you. Look at your desk and actively think. There is a pen, a black notebook, and a bright lamp.
Even talking to yourself in English helps, right? Narrating your own actions out loud if you are alone.
Yes! By saying things like, I am putting on my shoes, or I am opening the door, you force your brain to connect actions directly to English words.
The more you practice this daily narration, the more natural it will feel over time. You are basically building a new mental highway.
The second key to thinking in English is strategically building your vocabulary. The more words you know, the easier the thoughts will flow.
That makes sense. If you do not have the vocabulary, your brain has to pause and search for a translation.
There are lots of ways to learn new words effectively. Flashcards, spaced repetition apps, or simply writing them down in a dedicated journal.
But the secret is using them in actual sentences, right? Not just memorizing isolated words from a long dictionary list.
Exactly. You need context. This means you look at the words again and again, but spaced out over time. This helps lock them into your long-term memory.
It is really important to start slowly and build up your word list steadily. Consistency is much better than cramming.
Try to use at least 3 new words every single day in your micro-narration practice.
If you do this consistently, you will notice that you start to think in English automatically. The translation step just disappears.
Now, I have a question for you, Jack. Does confidence really play a big role in thinking in English?
Oh, absolutely. Confidence is everything. When you feel good about your English, you are much more likely to play with the language in your head.
That makes it easier to take risks and formulate sentences without overthinking the grammar rules.
Speaking of grammar, is learning grammar rules different from naturally thinking in English?
Yes, very different. Grammar rules are like the instruction manual for building a car.
And thinking in English is like actually driving that car down the highway to have a great conversation.
You can definitely drive a car and speak English without knowing every single mechanical rule under the hood.
That is a fantastic analogy. So, Mira, do you have any ultimate tips for beginners who still feel completely overwhelmed?
Of course! There is one method I recommend above all else for those who find it hard to stop translating. It is called total immersion.
Immersion. That means surrounding yourself with English all the time, right? Creating an English bubble wherever you live.
Exactly. You try to listen, read, and speak in English as much as humanly possible throughout your day.
How can someone do that if they do not live in an English-speaking country?
Start with the things you already enjoy. Change your phone language to English. Read a simple story or the daily news in English.
Or listen to music you love with English lyrics. Singing along in the shower is actually a really fun and effective way to practice pronunciation.
Movies and TV shows are incredible tools too. Watch a familiar movie, but this time, turn on the English subtitles instead of your native language.
That forces your brain to connect the spoken English words with the written English words, skipping the translation entirely.
The more you listen, read, and watch in English, the faster your brain adapts to the new patterns of the language.
Okay, so you are surrounded by English. But how do you take that final step to actively start thinking in it during a real conversation?
This is where real-life talking becomes mandatory. There are awesome language exchange apps where you can chat with native speakers easily.
It is like making a global friend who wants to help you practice, and you can help them in return.
Do not forget about local English clubs or online voice chat groups. Talking with real people in a friendly, low-pressure space is the best way to gain confidence.
When you are in a live conversation, you simply do not have the time to translate in your head. You are forced to think on the spot.
Remember, the key is to keep practicing relentlessly. Even a short 5-minute conversation every day helps your brain get used to forming thoughts directly in English.
Learning a language takes time. It is exactly like growing a strong, beautiful tree.
You wouldn't expect a tiny seed to become a giant oak tree overnight, would you? It needs water, sunlight, and a lot of patience.
Exactly. So be deeply patient with yourself. Be proud of the small wins you achieve every single day.
Did you understand a whole English sentence today without translating it? That is a massive achievement.
Did you successfully order a cup of coffee in English? Great job! Every tiny step forward counts towards your ultimate fluency.
I highly recommend keeping a journal to write down your journey and your daily English victories.
Looking back at your achievements, even the small ones, is a fantastic way to see how far you have actually come. It proves your hard work is paying off.
And do not forget to reward yourself for doing well. Make the learning process fun and exciting.
Learning something entirely new is hard. It is perfectly okay to make mistakes. In fact, you must make mistakes to improve.
Imagine a baby learning to talk. They say funny things and make mistakes all the time, but they never give up.
You are like that baby, but equipped with an adult's logic and bigger words.
Some days will feel incredibly easy, and other days will feel like a struggle. That is completely normal.
Just keep practicing your micro-narration, building your vocabulary, and immersing yourself in the language.
Believe in yourself. With consistent hard work and the right mindset, you will absolutely reach your fluency goals and stop translating forever.
Thank you so much to all our listeners for being a part of this podcast episode today. We love having you here.
If you found these tips helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of our English journey together.
Also, don't forget to check the description below for a free PDF cheat sheet containing all the useful vocabulary we discussed today.
Leave a comment below and tell us, what is your favorite way to practice thinking in English? We read every single comment.
Keep practicing, stay confident, and goodbye for now. We will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Keep thinking in English.